Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anne-Sophie. I'm a knitter from Belgium. This is my cat, Lilla, and today we'd love to talk to you about everything I knit in October. I don't think I have an awful lot to talk about this podcast episode because I did not spend as much time knitting this month as I usually do due to traveling and wrist pain, but I do have one finished object, 2 new cast-ons, and then progress on 2 whips. Grab yourself a cozy little drink and a fun little whip to work on while you listen to me yap. First of all, about what I'm wearing. I finally finished my heart chain sweater. Yep. Look at this beauty. This is a knit I cast on Valentine's Day, so in February, and I only finished it now because, I don't know, once I was near to finishing it, like spring was in full swing, I didn't want to finish it and then not be able to wear it, so I waited till now until the weather was like nice and cool enough. I wouldn't recommend doing that because the bind off, because all I had to do was like half of my second sleeve, which I think I'd gotten up to here, so I knit this in like 2 evenings and she was done. But I kind of messed up because the bind off on the 2 different sleeves I did a tiny bit differently. So, I mean, it's not super duper noticeable, but I notice it. And then the gauge on my sleeves is also a tiny bit different. I don't think it's noticeable, but like if you knit something yourself and if you're wearing it, you feel it. But, you know, that's just my own fault for procrastinating finishing this, and I accept my fate, but I do not recommend not finishing something and waiting until later. I'm going to try and be better about this in the future. So yeah, that's just my lesson with this project. Now, some information on this project. This is the heart chain sweater from Mayo. I knit a size large. It's knit on 5.5mm needles. It's all over cabled, but it comes with huge charts. So the front is fully charted in one chart, the body is fully charted, the back is charted, the sleeves are charted. So you don't need to do any thinking or memorizing because you can just strike off the row you're on and look at the next one, which is just a really nice thing when you have this many cables going on. I really enjoyed the charts of this pattern. It has 2x2 ribbing everywhere, which is also like, it indicates on the chart where you want your knits and your purls to be for the 2x2 ribbing for it to look nice and neat. It really does. The pattern is very detailed and I absolutely adored it. I also really like that these cables aren't mirrored because that is something, for example, when I knit the Moby sweater by Petite Knit, that I made so many mistakes on, and I didn't have that with this knit, which is just wonderful. I really like that I didn't have to go back and switch the direction of my cables like 5 cables down like I usually do because I tend to get distracted when I'm knitting. So yeah, that's a big win and something I really like about this pattern. Now, one thing I don't really like about this pattern is that it doesn't account for a lot of positive ease. So it's one of those patterns that seems size inclusive because it goes up to, I think, a 4XL, but what I'm wearing right now is an L. I figured out that the size that the model, or I think the designer, was wearing on the sample pictures or the project pictures on Ravelry and Instagram was a size large, so that's how I figured out that I had to knit a size large if I wanted the sweater to fit me like that. And it fits me really well, although the sleeves are a tad long, so I would shorten those if I were to knit it again for myself. But the length and the width of the body is just wonderful, so I really like that. But yeah, I got a lot of questions about sizing and people tend to be confused about like the sizing of this sweater, so I don't know, I would advise to go up a size if you want it to fit you loosely like it fits me. I think I could have pulled off a size medium, maybe. I am exactly on gauge, so that's definitely not why it's so big. I think I might have gone up one size too big. I think I should have stuck with a medium and it would have been perfect. But yeah, I'm really not complaining about this knit, honestly. I do love how big and chunky it is. I just think it's gonna be hard to wear underneath a jacket or a coat in the fall and winter, so it's really gonna be like an at-home sweater or an outerwear piece if it's not raining, which the weather in Belgium in the fall and the winter is just permanent drizzle, so I don't think I'll be able to wear this a lot as is outside, because also like on a sunny day I think I'll be sweaty, because this is knit at a pretty thick gauge with yarn that keeps you really warm. I used Filcolana Peruvian, which is a 100% Peruvian Highland wool worsted weight in the color Old Rose, and I held it with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the color Dusty Rose. I used Filcolana Peruvian because they did not have Knitting for Olive Dusty Rose in the worsted weight heavy merino yet. They do now, but back in February they didn't. And I'm actually glad they didn't, because the Old Rose is like, wait, I have some Dusty Rose lying around here. Sneak peek. As you can see, the Old Rose is just a tiny bit brighter and more purple leaning, which I really like. Also, I see in the viewfinder like my pink nails, my pink sweaters. I really am in my pink era right now. Yeah, I love this yarn combination. I think this project has really fully established for me now that Filcolana Peruvian, or Filcolana Pernilla, which is the fingering weight version of this yarn held with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair, is my absolute favorite yarn combination. It is so soft and fluffy, but also like airy and light. I feel like I don't know enough about fibers to be talking about this really, but I do feel like in my experience, Peruvian Highland wool is more pilly than a merino, but like almost equally soft and slightly more fluffy or lofty, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about fibers to talk about that really, but I do feel like from my experience, that's why I like Peruvian Highland wool a tiny bit more than a merino. It's so soft, it's so warm, so fluffy and puffy, and it's also not too warm, because I put this on like right after blow drying my hair, and then I was kind of sweaty, but now I feel like it's keeping me warm without keeping me too warm, if you know what I mean, which I wouldn't have with like an alpaca, I think. So yeah, I think I made the perfect yarn choice. I think I made the perfect color choice. Pink and hearts, like, you can do no wrong. I strongly recommend both this yarn combination and this pattern. I had the most fun making it, and I'm a bit mad at myself for procrastinating finishing it for so long, although I am sure I will be getting a lot of fun and wear and excitement out of this piece for the rest of my life, because this is just, I think, the sickest thing I've knit to date. I think my partner said this is the most impressive knit I've made to date, and I was like, my Madeline sweater, side-eyeing him from my cabinet. But oh well, I don't think it's my most impressive thing I knit to date, but I think it looks like the most impressive thing. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm just in a mood of like spewing words at people today, so bear with me. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this sweater. I do think I need to add an elastic to the neckline, or it's gonna like sag a little too much. It is a little too big to my liking, but I think that has to do with the properties of the Peruvian Highland wool. So yeah, that's something I'm gonna do soon, or at least like before I wear it out. I haven't worn it out yet. This is the first time I'm actually wearing it because I wanted it to be pristine for the podcast. Yeah, that's my heart chain sweater. Take another good look at its beauty. And let's move on to my next project. So the next things I have to talk about are 4 whips. I have 2 whips that were in my previous episode and 2 new cast-ons. So maybe I'll just start with the new cast-ons because these are closest to me right now. My first cast-on is finally the Marielle blouse by Maria Sverden. This is a project that I won in a giveaway. So I won a giveaway hosted by the designer. I won both the pattern and the yarn, sponsored by Knitting for Olive. I am using the recommended yarn, which is Knitting for Olive merino and soft silk mohair, a fingering held with a lace weight, and I'm using it in the color Dusty Rose because this pointelle-ish fabric was really calling for that, for me at least. So I've knit a little bit of the body. I've started the first sleeve and I've already added the neckline as well. This is a drop shoulder piece. So you start with the classic trapezius shape for, I think it's a European shoulder construction. And then you pick up stitches for the 2 fronts. You join in the front, you join for the body. Et voila. I have a little stitch marker here because I made a tiny mistake that I noticed that I'm gonna need to go back down for to fix. It's not gonna be fun. fun. This is a lace pattern, but it's a really, really chill lace pattern. It's really fun. It's really easy to memorize, so I don't need to look at the charts any longer. It's just yarn overs, decreases, and it's the same the whole time. It looks so much more complicated than it is. I just love when a knit does that. It has 1x1 ribbing details. It has really wide sleeves. I'm knitting the size medium, and I think I should have sized down because, I don't know, I feel like this sleeve is going to be way too big. But, you know, the pattern does write that the lace stitch pattern grows in length, so I'm assuming and hoping that that means it'll shrink in width a little bit, because this is huge, like huge, and there's no decreases, so that's gonna be a really, really wide sleeve. I hope this works out. If you've watched my earlier videos, you know I'm knitting this together with my knitting bestie Freya, and we're both knitting it in the same color. We cast it on together. Both of us are just obsessed with this project. This is virtually all I've been knitting on since I cast it on, if I'm honest. Like, I have my other cast on, which is a stockinette that I'm working on when I need something mindless, but for the rest, I'm just knitting away at this guy because look at it. This sweater is gonna be so pretty. I can't. This is looking so good already, and it's not even blocked. I cannot wait to have this finished and see what it's going to look like blocked. I'm obsessed. I hit gauge, so I'm knitting this on 4mm needles. I have 2 pairs of 4mm needles, and I'm currently not using them for a different project. So I have these on hold for the body, and then I'm using these for the sleeve, which it's so nice not to have to figure out my gauge for a sleeve because I'm doing it magic loop or on tiny circulars and my gauge changes. Like, this is wide enough for my gauge to just remain the same and for me to not have to do any math, which I'm very, very happy about. So I guess that is one good thing about the sleeves being insanely wide. But yeah, I do notice some bunching around the back where I picked up for the neckline. I hope that blocks out. I'm pretty sure it will. That is looking a little annoying, but I think that's only annoying because for the rest, this thing is looking amazing already and like pre-blocking, which is insane. This pattern is brilliantly written. It's really, really good. I love the little details with like the 1 stitch along which you increase at the front and at the back, although I do think there might be a mistake in the English pattern because if you can see, this is 1 stitch with then like an increased leg next to it. And on the pattern pictures of Maria, the designer herself, she doesn't have those little legs. So I think you should do your increases the other way around than it says in the pattern if you don't want the little leg. I actually do quite like the little leg. I think from afar, it balances out this line by making it a little thicker than if you were just to have the 1 stitch to knit along. I don't know. I'm not mad about it, but I do think I should shoot Maria a message on it to see if this is actually a mistake, because if it is a mistake, it might need to be corrected. But to me, it's like almost a happy mistake. I was a bit bothered by it at first, but now I really like the way it looks. It looks kind of, yeah, really balanced, a little bit thicker. I think 2 stitches would be too wide for me aesthetically. 1 stitch might be just not wide enough. So I think, yeah, this 1.5 stitch look along the increase line for the shoulder, yeah, it looks fine. It looks great. So to me, that's like a happy accident. I don't know what else to say about this project except for look at this. This is so pretty. This is also 100% something I should have been knitting in the spring, but I don't mind. I run really hot even in winter, and like when the heating is on at the office and stuff, it can get pretty hot. So I think I will get use out of this in the winter and the fall anyway. It'll be nice and breathable with the lace holes and the wide sleeves that are gonna let a lot of air flow through. I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this, even though it technically seems like more of a spring or summer sweater. I love how I use the exact same mohair for both these sweaters, but it still looks so different in color because I used it with a different base yarn. I'm really in my pink era. I'm so excited to have all these pink sweaters because up to now I only had 1 relatively bright pink sweater for me. So I'm very excited to have like a neutral, very desaturated pink in my wardrobe soon, and to have this in between type of pink in my wardrobe. I really am in my pink era and I am living for it. It is exciting me so much. I think my next cast on is going to be my Christmas sweater with a creamy white and then like a dusty pink, also like the dusty rose exact colorway, dusty pink bows. I think that's going to look so cute. I am going to have the pinkest Instagram feed in the world. If you want to see that, go follow me over on Instagram, please. Yeah, if you want to stay up to date with my knitting, make sure to go follow me on there. Now, my next cast on is not the most exciting thing in the world. I'm actually just knitting a stockinette tube. I cast on for my second Berlin scarf by Paula Strict. And how you knit that is you start with a provisional cast on, you grab 7mm needles and you just knit away at this stockinette tube until it is quite long, long enough to wrap around your neck. I am using the recommended yarn, which is Sunless Garn Brushed Alpaca in a discontinued purple color. I noticed that this color was going to be discontinued, so I snatched this yarn, I think last fall or last winter, before it was sold out everywhere because they weren't going to produce it anymore. And I'm very glad I did because I think this purple is going to look amazing with my purplish gray coat. I think this purple is going to look really cute on me as well. It's gonna match my purple hat. Then I just need to knit some purple mittens and I'm gonna feel like the cutest purple princess in all the land. I use my other Berlin scarf so much, so I think I'm gonna get a ton of use out of this one as well. I am not excited to be doing the double knit tassels again, but I have plenty of friends to knit together with on either in real life or in FaceTime who can help get me through this when I get to it. I must say though, this yarn is so soft and lovely. It's honestly wonderful to work with, but I do have an issue with it. I am only on my second ball and I have already had to cut out I think 4 or 5 knots. That is something I would be okay with like drops yarn. This is sold at Sunless Garn pricing, so I'm a bit disturbed by how many knots I've had to take out of this yarn. I hope I'm just unlucky with these first 2 skeins of yarn and that it'll like stop occurring once I get to my other 4 skeins of yarn. But yeah, I'm kind of scared it won't. And that's really sad. Yeah, so if you hate dealing with knots in your yarn, I might take back my words if I use some more skeins, but for now, I would not recommend this because it has been annoying me. Like, I cast this on to be a fun, easy, stressless project, and then you're on the go, knitting on the train, and all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, there's a little knot. I always forget to bring my little scissors, so I need to, like, yank the little knot off, split splice the yarn on the train or on the go. It's really annoying. I know, I feel like I'm exaggerating. Like, it's not ruining my life or anything, but it is pretty annoying. Now, my next whip. You've seen this plenty of times. I hoped this would have been a finished object by now, but alas, this is my Copenhagen x Diane cardigan, which I affectionately call my Franken cardigan because I'm combining 2 patterns. I started the button bands, but I've been having some issues. So I'll insert a picture of my first attempt at a button band. I followed the Diane cardigan instructions, and if you think this one is looking a bit too big for the fabric that it's attached to, wait till you see what it looked like before. I did it on 3mm needles because this is a cardigan. I talk about it a lot and at length in my previous podcast, so I won't be going into it too much, but this is a cardigan knit on 4mm needles with knitting for olive, merino, and soft silk mohair again, so a fingering and a lace weight giving you a DK in Dusty Banana is the color. So I did the first button band without the buttonholes on 3mm needles. It looked horrendous. Like, actually like a Franken cardigan. I think I might have like jinxed it by calling it a Franken cardigan. That might have made it ugly, I don't know. So instead of following the instructions, I redid it, folded instead of in the round, so I don't have the neat detail that the Diane cardigan has, where you don't have this kind of pickup edge and cast off edge. But I don't mind it, and I did it on smaller needles, 2.75 millimeter needles, but I do think it's still looking like the gauge doesn't match the gauge of the garment perfectly, so I don't really know what to do with that. Same goes for the other side where I did the button band with the buttonholes. I was lazy and I didn't follow the instructions that they give you for the Diane cardigan to do the buttonholes because I thought they were too much work, too much faff. So I just went with casting off and casting on stitches for the buttonholes. Like, it works. I have a buttonhole, but it looks kind of clunky. It looks kind of ugly. I also have 2 stitches more on this band than on the other one, which is really annoying. And now I don't know what to do. Do I just go ahead, add 2 more rows to this side so that it matches the other side in length? And do I block it to see if it comes out nicely? Or do I just redo this one first and give it neat buttonholes, like following the actual pattern instructions, and then see what it gives? Or do I just abandon it entirely, don't block it, and just redo it by picking up less stitches and following the instructions entirely? Please help. I'm not sure adding the neckline edge will help, but I do think I should do that before blocking. I don't know. I really just don't know what steps to take with this cardigan right now. I'm feeling a little stuck. I'm feeling a little disappointed. I need advice. Please, someone tell me what to do. Does it look like the gauge doesn't match and it's not going to block out? Does it look like it is going to block out? Yeah, this is what it's looking like now. A tiny bit clunky. Yeah, I don't know what to do about it. I think what I'm leaning towards the most right now is redoing the buttonhole side, doing it correctly with 2 rows less, then adding the neckline, blocking it, and seeing what it gives. But I am afraid that if this awkwardness doesn't block out, I'm actually gonna cry and never finish this project. And I know it do be like that sometimes, but I've been too excited about this for this to end up a flop, you know? Like, if I pull on it, it actually looks neat, right? Or am I delusional? Or does it look kind of okay? If anyone thinks the buttonholes look fine as is, let me know. I don't think they do though. Like, look at this. That's clunky. I don't know what to do with this. I'm a bit stumped and very disappointed because I love this so much. Like, I love these details from the Diane cardigan. They're so pretty on the hem, and like the hem and the cuffs, they just look so good. And I just want my little stockinette folded edges to look perfect. Why is this not looking perfect? Send me your advice either through DM or in the comments and help me figure out what to do with this thing, please. If I don't figure out what to do with this soon, I fear it's going to end up just somewhere in the back of my yarn cabinet, and we don't want that. We really don't. Now we're already at my last work in progress. I actually managed to make some progress on my agnete cardigan. This is a fully brioche knit on 3mm needles. It's a pattern by Petite Knit. It's a cardigan. You knit the button band as you go with the brioche. I've actually knit my first little buttonhole on the body. I've knit a little bit for the body already. I'm making such slow progress because it is hurting my hands a little bit, but I do have the goal of finishing this before, like, by the spring. I said by winter first. I have realized now that that is just not realistic. By the spring would be really nice. I'd love to be able to wear this. I am again using Knitting for Olive yarn. I'm using Knitting for Olive merino held with soft silk mohair in the color Dusty Moose. This is a very languishing whip. I cast this on in the fall of 2023, and then it languished for the longest time. It was just at the bottom of my project bag and I wasn't picking it up. So my goal is to finish it somewhere in the near future, just to not put it back in my project bag and not work on it. I want to make steady progress. I feel like I have been making steady progress, so I'm pretty excited. And this is just such a pretty project. Look at these details with the European shoulder. The increased details are just beautiful. They're equally pretty along the front. I think I'm gonna be so happy and so proud when I have this. This is going to be one of my most impressive knits. I just need to stick it out and work through this, I guess. I was really intimidated when I started this at first, and I think that's part of the reason why I let it languish for so long. Getting back to it now as a slightly more experienced knitter, I do feel much more confident and much more excited about this knit. The only issue I have with it now is not that it's like overcomplicated, but just that it's 3mm needles and a textured stitch, and that it hurts my wrists and my hands a little bit, so I can't work on it too much. And also when I work on it, it makes slow progress. So all of those factors combined make it a very slow progress knit, but that is really the only issue I have with it, that it's a behemoth of a project. So if you're up for a behemoth of a project, I would really recommend this pattern. I think it's one of the best and most well thought through petite knit patterns I've ever knit, and I've knit plenty of them. If I ever finish this and knit a few more petite knit patterns and end up doing like a ranking everything I've made by petite knit video, I think this is going to be the top tier. I'm pretty sure it will, because look at this. It's so good. It's so pretty. I think that this is actually going to be a piece that I wear for the rest of my life. I'm putting so much effort into this. I can see myself putting in the effort to stay the weight that I am right now so I can wear this for the rest of my life. Like, I would actually, as like a firm disliker of exercise, I would get a gym subscription just to make sure that I can fit in this cardigan forever. That's how much this is gonna take of me. I think this is gonna be like a horcrux, like part of my soul's gonna be stuck for all time. Because this is insane. Sometimes I just knit on this and I'm like, I can't believe I'm actually making this. Really excited to have this finished someday, one day. But yeah, I did make quite some progress in the past month, so that is a really exciting thing. I don't have any acquisitions for this month, so I can't believe it, but I actually don't have anything else to talk through with you today for like my month of knitting in October. So I guess all that's left for us to say is that we would love it if you could leave a comment letting us know what you were working on while you were watching this video. I love reading through those comments. They make my day. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, get to enjoy some lovely knitting time. Lila and I will see you in our next video. Bye bye.